What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for your Week 10 previews. On this one, we have the Commish versus 1-2 third rounders plus Rams. That's me versus Johnson. So taking a look here, as of right now, it's currently Wednesday night. My starters are Justin Herbert, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Addison, Ken Walker, Austin Eckler, Dalton Kincaid, Breece Hall, and Terry McLaurin. So what are you thinking here with some of these matchups here that I've got?
We were talking about it off air. You pointed out the 48. What was it? 48 over under on the implied total.
Yeah, for Detroit and for the Lions and the Chargers, 48.5 over under total.
So, and since Tuesday, that has not moved at all. So
Nope.
That's pretty good in terms of injuries, anything the Vegas bettors and the Sharks know. So all the bookies, typically have the intel. That's why we always say, check some of the betting odds, because if there's, if you see any crazy movement in any of the money lines, typically means that they know something that we don't. So either a player's not playing, a player's injured, something significant to move any of the, there's millions of dollars invested into the gambling world. So
Yep.
So that hasn't moved at all, which is good. So I'm looking at Justin Herbert here. Had a really bad game the last game. Detroit's defense is actually pretty decent. They've been decent. They've been decent with Dan Campbell, but now they have a pretty competent offense. So this should be pretty fun. Also, the Chargers, I believe it's the run defense. Their defense has kind of picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
During the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So, this should be fairly close. I think this one will be good. Let's see here.
Well, I would love for them to hit the over. That'd be great because I got 3 players vested in that game.
I'm looking at right now. Detroit's favored.
Yeah.
And their implied point total is 28.
Wow.
Or I mean 26. So if you look at 22 to 26, Vegas odds better, odd makers, they have it really close. This is not
like a blowout game. Yeah.
No. So this has potential shootout, like what you like to say.
And
it doesn't even have to be a sneaky shootout. Looking down here, I saw your Ken Walker popped up on the injury report with was it chest?
Yep, with the chest,
which was really weird. So we'll see. I don't remember him dealing with that. Wasn't he dealing with some leg issues?
It was a calf injury that he was dealing with last week. So I'm assuming that the chest injury must have been something like he must have taken a hit pretty hard in the Baltimore game, and it's kind of affecting him.
So yeah, we'll see. Typically Wednesday they call it Dude's Days. A lot of players rust.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he was a DNP, but that's a chest injury. They're usually anything like torso wise. They're usually pretty. If it seems like it's something that could possibly be serious, they're gonna be cautious. But as long as he gets in a limited practice either tomorrow and or Friday, he should be okay.
Yeah. So, Eckler again. So you actually have 3 pieces to this game.
Yeah.
So this would be, this actually would be an example of a stack that you could do in DFS if you guys are playing on DraftKings or FanDuel, where you would have a Herbert. Typically, you don't see the quarterback and the running back paired together. But if you're playing like one of the Millie Maker tournaments, you want to stand out. This would be a kind of an opposite instead of just doing the wide receiver. So you got 3 pieces here, which is pretty, if I was you, I'd be excited because you got one game you could focus on.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Breece Hall, I think this is a big breakout game. I wanted to trade, offer you a trade a while back, and you ended up keeping Breece Hall. We'll see how he continues here, but at least for the Vegas game, they've been really good at giving up points against running backs. So that should be a really fun
My only worry with Breece Hall is just the quarterback play, Zach Wilson, not the
Yeah.
greatest quarterback. So I'm
No,
hoping that
but I
they keep
mean-
it on the ground.
No, but I mean, even let's see. I was actually really surprised at his here you go. Look at his target shares. 4 targets, 9 targets, 5, 3, 4. Yeah, he's getting a lot of targets.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not worried about the targets
mean-
itself. I'm just worried about in general, Zach Wilson just not making the best of decisions.
No, but I mean, if you're going to be playing from behind, there's no one else. They're not throwing it to Dalvin Cook, so your Brees Hall is going to come in, get some of those dump offs. If they do play good, then he's going to be running because the game's going to be close anyways. It's kind of like a win-win.
I don't know. I didn't feel that comfortable last week when they were playing from behind. And
hey, you want to make a trade then? I'll trade you right now.
Well, I'm just saying because last week they were playing from behind, and Brees Hall wasn't in their best running back. Instead, they were mixing in Cook and Carter. So it was really disappointing to see that.
I know Carter a little bit. He's one of the waiver wire pickups versus Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
we'll talk after then. If you're not so confident in him, I want to shake things up before trade deadline. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's look at your bench. Here. You actually have a decent amount of buys here. You have Devon A-Chain. I'll start with probably your biggest one right here. Devon A-Chain coming off of IR. He should be healthy and ready to go. So that's a big one. Jacoby Myers right here, not bad. You've made the decision, I think, wisely to bench him against the Jets. We've seen. I mean, who do they play last week? We've seen what they do to wideouts.
The Chargers.
So I mean, there you go. With Keenan Allen. So we saw what they do. It took that one amazing catch. Like I wasn't even watching that game last week. I was pretty checked out, and I think I was doing homework, and I got a notification. I just see that Keenan Allen catch. So it takes even an incredible catch.
Yeah.
So we know Robert Saleh has always had a good defense.
Yeah. The one that I've been contemplating, going back and forth on was just Chuba Hubbard. Just trying to see if I wanted to play any players in this game, the Thursday night game, but I don't know. I'm not feeling the game.
I would say if I was going to, if you wanted to replace one person on your starters with Chuba Hubbard, I'd probably do Addison actually.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, but I mean, your boy Addison, is he going to get the Marshawn Lattimore treatment?
No, that was the substitution that I was contemplating, putting McLaurin up in the starter and then flexing Hubbard.
So I mean,
well, it would have been Walker actually.
So I mean, if you really wanted to do that,
yeah.
But I think we both, even though it shouldn't have any bearing in terms of the fantasy performance, I think you and me both like playing players on the weekend as far out as possible versus Thursday.
Yeah, so preferably.
I'm guessing that had a little smidge there, but
yeah. All right, so let's look over here at Johnson's team. Currently, he's starting Derek Carr. He's got 2 players on bye, AJ Brown and Mostert on his starting roster. He also has Garrett Wilson, Antonio Gibson, Gerald Everett, Chris Godwin, and DeAndre Hopkins. So really the biggest thing here is just making sure before, if you got any Thursday games on your bench, you don't. So really just making sure before Sunday morning you're switching out AJ Brown and Raheem Mostert and switching in one of your other bench players. So obviously you're going to put in ETN. And then from there, it's really depending on what you need. Do you need upside? If you need upside, you'll go Gabe Davis. If you need some consistency, you might go Tank Dell or Tyler Lockett.
I would actually switch that up. Lockett, I don't know how consistent. Gabe Davis is boom or bust, but I would actually say that Tank Dell might actually have the higher ceiling than Gabe Davis.
Yeah,
just because that's there's true. Less competition.
And his quarterback play, I mean, not to say Josh Allen hasn't been playing great. He's been playing pretty good. But CJ Stroud, he's been on his hair.
Yeah, there's CJ Stroud has no other option, Devin Singletary's not going to get it done. Damian Pierce isn't even healthy. He didn't practice again today. Robert Woods is out, so realistically, you're looking at Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz.
Well, and then the other thing too is I'm just looking at the matchup. Buffalo versus Denver. Buffalo will probably get up pretty quick. Gabe Davis will be game scripted out. Cincinnati will probably get up pretty quick over Houston, and Tank Dell will have to, he'll have to get the garbage time points.
Maybe. I wouldn't. So we haven't gotten to my team yet, but reports are, Higgins came out with a new injury, and looks like it's ankle, I believe. Was it an ankle or hamstring? I think it was hamstring. So he came out with a hamstring injury versus the rib fracture today and was limited. So anytime you see a midweek injury,
I think Tyler Boyd is still pretty good and pretty much good enough to cover for that.
No. But no. What I was gonna say is if Higgins doesn't play or if he's not 100%,
and Jamar Chase,
we've seen what Zach Taylor will do, where he plays a player that's not healthy, and then basically benches him for the rest of the game.
True.
He had that 0. I had that 0 last year. Jamar Chase, his reports with the reporters, like I was telling you, it sounded ominous, and now all of the beat writers and all of the podcasts are, they saw the same thing. So imagine if it is Tyler Boyd, even though, it's going to be closer. And Houston has a pretty stout defense. Their defense is pretty decent. So
yeah, this could also, if that's the case with all the injuries on the wide receiver room, this game could also be the case where, we could talk about it later, but they might try to get Mixon going a little bit more.
They could, but the point is, I don't think it's going to be as much of a big blowout from
No.
Cincy.
I'm not saying it's going to be. What I'm saying is, if Cincy gets over Houston's going to be playing from behind, so that's going to game script Tank Dell to have to, get the garbage points.
They will, but that's, yeah. I think that'll be a close game. So
yeah,
it'll be good. I think it's going to be a wide receivers game.
So besides the bye week players that Johnson currently has on his starting roster, what else are you seeing from his starters?
So a big one would be Derek Carr here, going up against Minnesota, who is pretty stout against Minnesota is stout against the run.
Yeah.
So we know that that's going to affect Kamara. And if that's the case with Kamara being affected, now that safety blanket of all those checkdowns, those easy little throws for Derek Carr, that safety blanket's not going to be there. Not only that, but now Kamara is going to have to be used in pass pro. So if you take that running portion away or that check down threat away, all Minnesota has to do now is man the middle of the field for those wide receivers. If Derek Carr is already struggling to get open and have that connection with Chris Olave, we saw that Mike Thomas had 0 last week.
Yeah.
Your other two options are what? Taysom Hill and Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah.
So so this game could be something where it goes back and forth depending on how lazy the defenses get. But like I said, even with your team over here, with Addison being shadowed by Marshawn Lattimore, even if it's not a shadow, Marshawn Lattimore goes to the other side and doesn't shadow Addison. I don't know if Kendrick Bourne is healthy yet, but you already don't have Justin Jefferson. You haven't had the best running with Alexander Madison. Now, no Cam Akers. You have Josh Dobbs coming in brand new. So this game could be, might not be that pretty to watch.
Yeah, it's not a game that I'm excited to watch, that's for sure.
Let's see and so the total points right now opened at 38, increased a little bit. It's around 40 to 41.
Yeah.
Looks like the consensus is mainly, 41. So we'll see with that one. Going down here, Everett. So interesting that Johnson has his tight end right now. If he goes with Everett, is going to be in that game that we talked about. That should be higher offense, higher scoring between Detroit and the Chargers. going up. He should be throwing in Etienne. Etienne has he has a little tough matchup here against San Francisco. But the good thing is that he gets a majority of the work. He gets receiving work.
Yeah.
So even if they get from behind, that's always nice when you see your running back get.
Yeah, and I think
work.
the good thing for the Jaguars and Etienne too is they're coming off the bye week, so they've had that week to rest up a little bit and extra time to game plan for San Francisco.
So yeah, that should be good. Godwin here with Tampa Bay. I know Rachaad White's been playing decent as of late. Kind of what we wanted to see at the beginning of the season when everyone was hyping up his draft status.
Yep.
But we know that Tennessee typically has had a really, really solid defense against the rush, which opens up and forces Baker Mayfield now to throw it more. So
Yeah.
in that case, it could still be Rachaad White with those checkdowns. He's been using a little bit more, but we also know that it's good for Godwin and for Mike Evans.
Yep. I agree.
You could say, I would just say one last thing, the converse, because now he has a stack in this game. Johnson also has Hopkins. If he goes with that same thing, Tampa Bay is pretty stout against the run, which means it opens it up a little bit more for the passing. You're going to have Shaq Barrett going down against Will Levis, because now the news came out today that Will Levis is now going to be the starting quarterback and Ryan Tannehill is going to be the backup. So
rest of the season.
This should be it. Yeah, so this should be really interesting to see with, the commitment to the receiving here.
Yeah, and I think even though, Tampa Bay's stout defense up against the run, I think this is another game to kind of showcase, okay, there's chemistry building between Hopkins and Will Levis. I mean, last week, those 11 targets, that's ridiculous. So if that continues again into this week, you can start looking at, okay, you know what, Hopkins is going to be a must start for the rest of the season eventually. So
it'll give us another good test and a glimpse into how Will Levis is playing, how he's navigating in the pocket, and with that pass rush if he has to navigate out of the pocket. So that should be an interesting game actually to watch.
Definitely, yeah. All right, well, that'll be it for this Week 10 preview. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.